shepherd's pie. Not the traditional recipe, but cone style, like everything. What we need today is some spices for the meat gravy we're going to make. In this case I'm going to use pepper. There's some tomato puree. This is a strong seasoning sauce. It tastes similar to Marmite or Vegemite, which is a yeast seasoning or spread that we use in Australia and UK. A little bit of barbecue sauce, and of course we need gravy to make it into a real shepherd's pie. Okay, so we've got 600 grams of beef, not cut up. I'll chop that up myself. Garlic, some peppers, add a little bit of spice. Cauliflower, onion, cabbage, pumpkin, potato, carrot. Not exactly sure what this is. I'll find out shortly. And of course beans. So what we're going to start by doing is cutting the meat and putting the meat into the water. Now, before I cut, just a couple of goes. And what that does, it actually takes, you can see, this fine metal filings. It'll put a sharp edge on your knife. You can see it's much easier to cut. Also, you see, like wood, the meat has grain running in it. If you cut against the grain to make it easier to eat, what I'll do is I'll we'll cut, crisscross it on the grain, and that'll make it a lot more tender to eat. Okay, all of that now goes into the boiling water. Right. Now into the garlic, put the garlic in there as well. Actually, since we're boiling it, I'll just cut the garlic with the skin on. We let this boil for a while. Obviously the meat has to cook, and we want the vegetables to heat up and release all their flavour basically. What I might do, just throw a bit of the seasoning in. Throw it all in for this dish. Take all of that. Set that up. Set that right. We're going to let that boil, simmer, whatever. And now we're going to, see, I've got the rice cooker. We're going to cook the top. No shepherd's pie. What you do is you have the bottom layer. There's the meat, usually minced meat, but again it's hard to find minced meat here. Beef isn't a part of the Thai diet generally. So what we'll do is boil that off, make gravy out of the water eventually. We're going to cook the potato, pumpkin, carrot into the rice cooker until it's boiled, and then we will mash it and then put a layer on top of the meat, the gravy. And that's a traditional shepherd's pie, except I'm using a couple of extra ingredients rather than just potatoes. The reason I like using a couple of different veggies is obviously you're going to get more vitamins. Cut these fairly thin, fairly fine to start with, because it makes it easier when you go to mash them, and they cook faster if they're cut fine. A little bit too much hot water in there. Just take some out. These will steam as well as they'll boil. Okay, you can see that's starting to cook now. What we'll do, put the lid on that, turn it down to a simmer, and come back in about 20 minutes when the rice cooker finishes cooking the vegetables. Right, every 5 or 10 minutes, just come and have a look, make sure how it's going, give it a bit of a stir, make sure there's nothing sticking to the bottom and burning, and make sure there's enough water in there so that it isn't sticking to the bottom and burning. Because I haven't put the sauces in there yet, the sauces tend to make it burn. Okay, so we'll be back in when the potatoes finish cooking. It's been about 30 minutes, 40 minutes actually. I had a small meal between. Okay, that's well and truly cooked. The meat isn't breaking apart, which is unfortunate. But you'd need to cook the meat for a couple of hours to get that to happen. Break apart and actually have the individual fibres. It makes it a lot easier to eat, a lot easier to digest. Okay, we do now. Explosive can of sauce. Okay, a little bit of water. Again, get the sauce out. Mix that in. Turn the heat back on. With some hot water. Now with the gravy mix, you need to just add a little bit of water at a time. Stir it, make it into a paste, add more water. If you put all the water at once, it just becomes a thick mass of glugs of gravy. you end up with lumps of gravy and don't actually end up with gravy itself. See that starting to happen. Okay, a little bit more water. Clean up later. And we keep going until it actually becomes gravy, or close to, so I can mix it into the meat and vegetable mix in the electric wok. Okay, that's getting very close. As you keep stirring the gravy, it will get thicker, so you need to actually stir it for a few minutes before you throw it into the meat and vegetable mix. I'll stir that in, make sure it goes right through. You can see the heat has already started to clump together. Really don't want that. Just pour off any excess water. First thing I'll do, because I don't actually have a masher, is use the knife and just cut it. That's it, that's a fairly good job by itself. After I do that, stir this again. The other thing you can do, rather than boil water off, to thicken it, get your instant oats, stir that in. The oats will absorb the water, same as porridge basically. In fact, this used to be quite common in Scotland, I believe, to have porridge with pork, meat and vegetables and things like this. Not really porridge at that stage. It acts as a very thickening agent, as you can see already, without even letting it sit. Put the lid back on, let that sit for a bit. Sorry. Let's put a barbecue sauce. Bottle. Mix that in. Just a little bit different flavour. Put that on, let it sit. Back to the vegetables. What to do? You can see they've been cooked quite well, and even just a spoon will mash. Mash against the sides. Okay, it's a fairly chunky style of mashed potato and pumpkin. What we do now, very simply, laying that across the top. Hopefully it doesn't sink in. Very dangerously close to filling this. Traditionally, you do this in a baking tray rather than an electric wok, and you'd put it in the baking tray, put it in the oven, bake the top of it so it goes crispy, put some cheese on top, melt it, and then serve with tomato sauce on top. In about an hour and a half now. As I said, the gravy and the oats have thickened the mixture. See this time. Now it's a shepherd's pie. Okay. The potato mix on top, meat underneath, and some black rye bread to go with it. Bavarian style. Not bad at all. Much better than the first serving. Let's go.